At the end of Star Trek Picard Season 3, 7 of 9 flies away as captain of the Enterprise. She's just the latest in a long line of fantastic female characters that the franchise has produced. 7 of 9, for example, originated in the show Voyager, captained by Catherine Janeway. But the women in Star Trek haven't always got the best deal. They haven't always had the best writing. Think about Number 1, appeared in the pilot, then the character was removed, as well as Captain Pike. We'll be coming back to Number 1. Think about Uhura running comms on the Enterprise. Did she do much else? Not a lot. We'll be coming back to her later. Think about Deanna Troi with her feelings.
Spoon the fudge around the rim.
Think about Hoshi Sato from Star Trek Enterprise. Had a fantastic Mirror Universe arc. I think that was in the 4th season, but that's pretty much all she got in about 100 episodes. And now think about the female characters in Star Trek Strange New Worlds. In my opinion, they're the worst written, least developed characters in the Star Trek franchise. Now, this isn't about the actresses. This is about what they're given to do. So I've already mentioned 7 of 9 and Catherine Janeway. Think about Kieran Aris, Jadzia Dax, T'Pol, B'Elanna Torres, Guinan, Lita, Ro Laren. Keep these characters in mind as I talk about the ones in Strange New Worlds and see what you think. First up, I'm going to talk about La'an Noonien Singh. She's probably my favourite of the new characters in Strange New Worlds. So she actually has some backstory, some motivation. She survived a Gorn attack as a child, rescued by Number 1 and inspired to join Starfleet. So generally, I like the depiction. She's given some awful dialogue.
Sir, I should go do the security things.
But generally, she's depicted as competent, capable. When they have the Gorn episode, she's able to deal with them well. She leads what's easily the best episode of the series, Season 2, Episode 3, Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. So it's quite a morally complex episode in the sense that Starfleet seems to want to save her ancestor, Khan Noonien Singh's life. Or maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe that's just lazy writing as well. But anyway, she's kind of my favourite. I like the way she interacts with Paul Wesley, who plays Kirk. I'd like to see those two in an episode again. Broadly speaking, I'd say thumbs up for La'an Noonien Singh. And it's kind of a similar story for Commander Pelia. She only joined at the beginning of the 2nd series, but she seems like a very direct character. She seems quite fully formed as she comes in, able to confront the other character like she does with Spock in the season opener. So not much to say here, but I like what I see so far. That's mostly it for the positives, to be honest. So next, I'm going to ask you a question. Who is Erica Ortegas?
I'm Erica Ortegas. I fly the ship.
Okay, but who is Erica Ortegas?
I am Erica Ortegas. I fly the ship.
And that is literally all we know about her. She's got some funny lines. She seems to have some chemistry with the other actors, but she's got nothing to do. She's sitting in the seat that Sulu sits in. She's sitting in the seat that Data, that Tom Paris sit in. Why do we know nothing about this character?
I'm Erica Ortegas. I fly the ship.
And then there's Christine Chapel. So, Season 1, Episode 7, Serene Squall. Spock professes his love for Chapel. He's just kidding, it's just a ploy. And then they kiss on the bridge. Season 2, Episode 1, Broken Circle. Spock doesn't want to fire on the ship because Nurse Chapel is on there. Season 2, Episode 5, Charades. I'm going to come back to charades. I have a lot more to say about that in another video. But for Chapel, she's talking to the aliens. She sounds like she's something out of high school rather than in a quasi-military organisation that explores the galaxy. I'm confused why, in the 21st century, we've got a character who essentially has nothing except the feelings she has for a man. Next, there's Uhura. So, early on in the 2nd episode, the cast go to a dinner in Pike's quarters. They all just sit there and they listen to Uhura tell her backstory. That's right, this is a tell, don't show story. In the same episode, she goes on an away mission. She keeps mentioning, hey, it's my first away mission.
What do you think, decorative or linguistic?
You're asking me?
We do get her developing a bit of a relationship with Hema. She views him as a father. How do we know that she views him as a father? Because she says this.
But he reminded me a lot of my dad.
So, again, very much a tell character and not a show character. The writers seem completely clueless as what to do with her. They seem scared to do anything with her. Beyond a little bit of generic girl bossing, it's like she's not there at all. And then we come to maybe the biggest mystery and the biggest disappointment of all the women characters in Strange New Worlds. Number one. As mentioned earlier, number one was in just a single episode of the original series, the rejected pilot The Cage. Then recast, appeared with Anson Mount in 3 episodes of Star Trek Discovery before moving across to Strange New Worlds. But she's like Erica Ortegas. What do we know about her? What do we learn about her? What can she do? Why is she in the position she's in? This feeling is compounded for me by the way they treat the character extremely passively. So in the opening episode of Strange New Worlds, for example, the crew have to go and rescue her because she's been on a first contact mission, she's gone wrong, she's in prison. In a later episode, when most of the crew go on shore leave, she hangs out with La'an Noonien Singh and they seem bored. They seemed listless. They don't know what to do. They seem like they're having a crisis of self-confidence.
I was looking forward to redoing the duty rosters.
I was planning.
And then you have the Illyrian storyline. Number one isn't human. She's from a species called the Illyrians. They're genetically modified, and as such, following the eugenics wars, they're not supposed to be in Starfleet. So now this is an attempt to do the kind of social commentary that Star Trek has done from the start, but hasn't really done very well in the last few years. But my point here is how they're treating number one. So again, she's very passive. She's just a victim. She doesn't do anything. She just sits there. Why are we supposed to be invested in this character? I mean, Rebecca Romijn was in the X-Men. If you think about Series 2, Episode 1, Broken Circle, where M'Benga and Nurse Chapel are fighting the Klingons with their superpower juice or whatever it is, why not put Rebecca Romijn in that sequence? Surely she's got experience of doing Hollywood stunt work. Overall, as I've already said, why is she number one? Presumably, during Star Trek Discovery Season 2, she was in charge of the Enterprise while Pike was on the Discovery, so how did she get there? What character qualities has she got? How does she demonstrate these character qualities? So overall, the female characters in Star Trek Strange New Worlds are barely characters at all. They're poorly drawn caricatures who we know nothing about, have no real reason to get invested in. Compare this to, for example, Kira Nerys, the freedom fighter struggling with moving into a government role and into peace. Think about T'Pol in Star Trek Enterprise, struggling with her growing affinity for humans. Basically, whoever's doing the writing for the women characters on Star Trek Strange New Worlds is doing it very badly.